welcome to Mego Museum's Vintage Mego, where we talk about the golden age of Mego toys. In celebration of the 40th anniversary of Star Trek the Motion Picture this week, I wanted to talk about a series of action figures that barely happened, the second series based on the film, which consisted completely of alien characters. So to give you the backstory, Mego had tremendous success with the Star Trek television show license from 1975, hitting its real high point in 76, and then petering out with a bit of a whimper in 1978. With the announcement of a motion picture coming out the next year, Mego and Paramount briefly clashed over whether or not they had the license for the film. Paramount was of the mind that the film was a separate license. They even forbade Marvel Comics from mentioning the original series for a brief time in their adaptations. However, cooler heads prevailed, and Mego managed to secure the toy and action figure rights to the film. Times had changed, and the rage was now smaller 3 3/4-inch action figures led by such lines as Kenner's Star Wars and, of course, Mego's Micronauts line. Mego wisely thought to emulate Kenner's look for the figure, each with figures about 5 points of articulation, and they planned to release 2 waves of figures, a bridge playset, a Vulcan shuttle, a 12-inch series, and role-play items such as working communicators that had sold well for Mego in the past. The first wave of Star Trek the Motion Picture action figures were put in stores prior to the movie's debut on December 8, 1979. The first 6 characters were solely based on the Enterprise crew. Mego anticipated big things, and then they saw the movie. To quote Neil Cublin, former VP of R&D at Mego, "The biggest downer I ever had at Mego was the night we went to premiere of Star Trek and walked out and said, well, kiss 40 million goodbye. We thought we'd do $40 million on it. We took one look at it and knew it was a bomb. Actually, it wasn't that much of a success of a movie either. It was just enough of one for them to make another film." While the movie is largely regarded today as an underrated classic, its philosophical nature and slower pacing made it a failure in terms of merchandising to children, and that included Mego's action figure line. Even though the figures were well made and sculpted by Aurora model kit legend Bill Lemon, the line features the Enterprise crew in somewhat drab uniforms featuring a lot of gray and white tones, so far removed from the bright, eye-catching colors of the original series. None of the figures came with their trademark phasers. To be fair, there are no phaser battles in the film itself, but kids like weapons. Another issue would be the assortment itself. 1/3 of the first wave consisted of 2 characters that kids weren't familiar with in the form of Commander Decker and Lieutenant Ilea. If you hadn't seen the movie, you had no idea who these characters were, and especially in the case of Ilea, kids just let her sit on shelves for years. This left Mego to cancel any plans for follow-up lines, as the Star Trek merchandise would go into deep discount in 1980. The second series of Aliens would, however, see a slim release, mainly to foreign distributors who placed their orders with a letter of credit which guarantees payment. JCPenney also offered 3 of the alien characters in their 1980 wish book, so Mego did go to work and produce them. Carded aliens were offered in Canada by Grand Toys, in Italy by a company called Ceppi Ratti, and in the United Kingdom by Pedigree Toys. Curiously enough, the UK seemed to receive the characters on US cards, not bearing Pedigree's logo, and they are the most difficult to find in the secondary market. The series would consist of 6 characters, the Klingon, the only character kids would be familiar with, and 5 new aliens that were featured in the film. The Rigelian, which is actually called Sauron in the film. The Rigelians are a different alien species. Oops. The Arcturian, who also got a 12-inch figure along with the Klingon. The Megarite, Betelgeusian, and Zeranite. With the exception of the Klingon, the large majority of these characters had nothing to do with the film, and in some cases are kind of difficult to spot when you watch it. However, their bright colors and interesting design do make them appealing to children who can't get enough of aliens at this time. By the time this series debuted to stores, the motion picture was already a dead issue for Mego. I personally remember the first time I saw them was in a Kmart, where they had an 8-foot end cap of this and Mego Black Hole, all for 99 cents a piece. In today's market, that spells rarity, and combined with demand for Star Trek, the second series characters fetch much higher prices than their Wave 1 colleagues. Megorite and Betelgeusian are among the toughest characters to find in loose mint condition. This is due to their fabric capes always being missing or damaged. Because they saw release in the US, Rigelian, Klingon, and Arcturian are most commonly found, but I wouldn't exactly go out of my way to call them common either. They're still difficult and desirable. I know this line gets bashed a lot and made fun of, but to be honest with you, I unapologetically love these, and I played with them like crazy as the kid. Sure, the film didn't live up to my expectations, but I love the wonderful Marvel comic, and I just loved that Star Trek was back with this huge promotion. And I was into these for years, and I played with that bridge playset, which I'll get to in a future episode. It was a very well-loved line in my house, and I'm not alone. There were a lot of kids like me. So I just wanted to shine a little love on these characters and just how cool they really were when you were 9 years old. What do you think of the Star Trek The Motion Picture line? You can tell me. I won't be offended. Let me know in the comments below. You can hit me up on Twitter, @Mego Museum. Of course, we have a giant Facebook group called Mego Mania, where all we do is talk Mego 24/7. And, of course, the old school forums at megomuseum.com, where you're always welcome. Thanks again for watching. I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe if you're new to this. Until next time, take care and have fun.